Fracking is affecting many homes and lives in western Pennsylvania.
Fracking is also becoming a worldwide problem. If you are yet to hear of fracking, it is the process of drilling into the ground and injecting chemicals that damage our environment. This process cracks the rocks below, releasing natural gas. It is then collected from these wells. This process might sound simple, but it is destroying the lives of those that live in these areas. Roberta Winters tells us more about fracking.
I'm Roberta Winters, and I am the Issues and Action Vice President for the League of Women Voters of Pennsylvania. And when I became on the state board of the League of Women Voters, they were looking for people to assume certain jobs. And my job happened to be coordinating the Marcellus Shale studies. And this was in 2009. And since that time, I've had the chance to coordinate studies on a statewide basis that dealt with natural gas extraction from Marcellus Shale, including such things as the environmental impact, the economic impact, rules, regulations, pipelines, and pooling. So I believe fracking is now being done in 31 states across the country. There have been some sociological studies done of the impact of natural gas extraction on communities. One of the more interesting things that you need to know about is it changes the nature of communities. One of the things that's happening throughout Pennsylvania is there's polarization. There are people who are anxious to take advantage of the economic opportunities that natural gas operations will bring to them, and there are other people who like their land and their communities the way they are. This has created a source of conflict. So sometimes people are either for it or against it, and people who were once friends are no longer friends, and vice versa. I would say what happens when you natural gas operations, they come in with three different things. First of all, they come in with landmen who are eager to lease your lands and extract the minerals or natural gas, as the case may be. With that comes money, and that money can, depending upon the circumstances, make people who were once very poor very rich. At the same time, there are many trucks that come into the community because every drilling operation requires hundreds and hundreds of truckloads. They're bringing in concrete, they're bringing in heavy equipment, they're bringing in sand, they're bringing in water. So a lot of those things change what used to be quiet streets. So there have been lots of problems with bridges, roads becoming less than useful. So many of the companies have in fact been working to repair some of the roads and improve some of the facilities just for their own benefit, not necessarily for the people's, because their trucks are getting stuck in the ditches. So we have truck traffic and things like that, and with that comes, of course, diesel fumes and noise and things that people just aren't used to. The other thing with all the men that come into town is there is very little housing. Many low-income people have been displaced. Fracking can impact the environment in three ways. It can have an impact on the land, the air, and the water. The land is probably the easiest place to begin because fracking sometimes is deemed mini mountaintop removal because whenever they go into a new area, which is usually rural and remote, they go to a place that has gentle hills or highlands and cut off the top to make a flat well pad. During that process, they can have problems with erosion and sedimentation, which again creates problems in the streams and water supplies. They also create fragmentation in the forest lands because they have to build gathering lines that go from the well pads into transmission lines so it can be sent from the well pad to the consumers. So in cutting through the forests, they can also create areas where invasive species can move in. Substances that are put down the well, they mix with what's already deep below the earth, which has been there for thousands and thousands and millions of years, and some of that stuff comes back up with the flowback water. These chemicals are not necessarily nice things that you want, even though some people would say they're under your sink. They are, but most of us don't do things like drink, our detergents. And they're in relatively small quantities when you look at it in terms of weight, but they're still millions of gallons.